I'm going to be showing you how I draft my bodice block, the basic pattern bodice block. Stay tuned. Okay everyone, so I'll quickly show you what we will be using for this drafting. So we need our measurement tape, you need a pen, a chalk, an eraser, and of course you need your rulers. I'm going to be using these two, or I might just use only this one, depends. And of course scissors for paper, for cutting your paper. And this is a paper, pattern paper, the brown one. Okay, so we start now. So what I do first is, at the very top here where my hand is, I normally mark a 1-inch guideline. There's two papers here, so one for the front, one for the back, and one for the back. So this is the method I use to draft my basic bodice that I used every time to sew. So I'm going to be using my own measurement. So all you need to do is, you need to take your, I'll read out the measurement you need. You need your bust measurement, you need your shoulder measurement, you need your waist measurement, your hip measurement, your armhole measurement, the length of the blouse, the neck width on standard is 3 inches, the neck depth on standard is 3 inches. So but for me, I'm going, because I'm making this for myself, I'm going to be making my neck width 3.08. You can measure your neck if you are making it for yourself, unless you are just making the standard one. If you are making it for yourself, measure your neck round. I'm going to be doing a video tutorial on how to take a complete full adult measurement, but I'm going to be using a dummy to do it, the tailor dummy. So you need to measure your neck. So this is my own measurement here, but on standard, the neck width is 3 inches, the depth is also 3 inches. Okay, so those are the measurements you require. I will repeat them again: your bust measurement, your shoulder measurement, your waist measurement, your hip measurement, your armhole measurement, and the length of the blouse measurement. That's what you need. Those are the measurements you need. You can measure your neck if you want to do the pattern to keep it for yourself, but if you are doing for standard, it's just 3 inches you are using. Okay, so on the top here, I measure 1 inch for a guideline. I always do this. That's just my guideline. So you measure 1 inch, done. Measure 1 inch. And I'll take a ruler and just draw a straight line across. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So yes, you need a pencil, an eraser. I'm sure I measure it, or I've already mentioned that already. So that when you make a mistake, you can always erase it. You can always erase it and start all over again. So what I have done so that I can know the length, the wideness of the paper, I've used my hip measurement. I've used my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 4 inches plus 4 inches. That's what I've used to cut my paper out, because I'm going to be adding sewing allowance to this particular pattern. I'm not going to cut it without a sewing allowance. Of course, the normal one, the standard one, you cut it without a seam allowance. But because I'm going to be using this for myself, so I'm going to be putting a seam allowance. So I'm cutting this my own method. If you are cutting the normal standard method, you don't need to add a seam allowance. You can add a seam allowance later when you are cutting the fabric, or you can do it my method and add your seam allowance, so you don't need to be forgetting to put seam allowance. So remember, everything is cut on the fold. So in the middle here, I'm just going to draw a square shape box. So everything is cut on the fold. So this will be the middle. So you know that it's cut on the fold. It's cut on the fold. The back, the front, it's cut on the fold. So as I said earlier on, there's two papers here. Okay, so now I've drawn a straight line on top, 1 inch as a guideline. So the next measurement I'm going to take now is half of your shoulder. So if your shoulder is 17, half of it. What I do sometimes, you can use the calculator, it's up to you. Or you could use your measurement tape. You just fold your tape to meet 17 or to meet 16, whichever yours is. You just fold it to meet it there. You crest the tape at the end, like so. So it's crest. If you open it out, it will give you, you see, 8.5. Then you mark 8.5 down here. You can put half an inch sewing allowance if you want, but me, I don't so much like putting half an inch sewing allowance. I just use this and I like the way it turns out. For myself, if I'm sewing for a client, I put half an inch sewing allowance. Okay, so that's half of our measurement. Don't forget, this is the folded edge. So from here, from this half an inch shoulder shoulder, this is the half of the shoulder. From here, we are going to be marking down the length of our armhole, which is 10.5. So this measurement depends on everybody. You can measure the person so you can get the correct measurement. Normally what I do is the armhole divided by 6. Some people might be 11, but sometimes 11 is too long, so I just use 10.5. Depends on the person's bust measurement. So I use 10.5. It works perfectly fine. Some people is 9, others is 8. Okay, so I'm using 10.5. So from here, from the top of the shoulder here, we are going to come down by 1 inch. That's for the shoulder slope. From this, the same point as well, we are going to take, I forgot to mention the other measurement you need. You need the shoulder to your waist measurement. I forgot to mention that. So you need shoulder to your waist measurement, and also you need shoulder to your upper hip measurement. So shoulder to the waist measurement, you need that. And shoulder to your upper hip measurement, you need that as well. So in most cases, that is the length of the blouse. In most cases, that is the length of the blouse. So this is the length of the blouse here, 26. And then I'm just adding 1 inch extra. Just for sewing allowance. So I'm adding 1 inch extra, so making it 27. So this is 27 here. Okay, so what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to take my ruler. I'm going to connect half of the shoulder measurement to half of the armhole. Like so. And then I'm also going to, it stops here. So I'm also going to just draw a straight line. This is the waist measurement here. I'm just going to draw a straight line across. And this is the length of the blouse, which is the upper hip plus 1 inch. And at this point here, half of the armhole, I'm also going to draw a straight line. These lines are guidelines just to help you to draft the pattern correctly. Okay, I hope you guys can see what I have done so far. So now I measured 1 inch here for the shoulder slope. I measured 1 inch here for the shoulder slope. So from this edge, this is a folded edge, you are going to measure 3 inches for standard. But in my own case, because this is for myself, I'm going to be measuring 3.08. So I'm going to be measuring 3.08 for myself. And then from here as well, the folded edge, you are going to come down by 3 inches, that is standard. Okay, so we are going to connect the lines. So this is the 1 inch shoulder slope. You connect it to the neckline here, the 3.08. This is for myself. Standard is 3 inches. So you connect it. Okay, I hope you can see that. And then on the neckline, you can either use this curved ruler or you can use this curved ruler if you want. So whichever one you prefer, you just connect the neck with your ruler. You draw a nice round shape. So you draw a nice round shape. Can you see what I have done here? And then for the back, this is for the front pattern. For the back, you just come down by 1 inch. You come down by 1 inch for the back. And then you connect it with the ruler as well. Just take your ruler and draw a nice shape. Hope you guys can see that. So that's for the back and that's the front one. Okay, so now we are going to come to the bust measurement. Before we do that, I just want to draw the length of the blouse. I just want to draw a straight line across completely. Okay. So now we are going to be putting down the bust measurement, the waist measurement, and on the bottom part of the blouse, we are going to be using the hip measurement. That was why I said you need your hip measurement, your upper hip measurement. So you are going to divide your bust measurement divided by 4. And then you are going to mark it down. So your bust measurement divided by 4. So this I'm doing is my own I'm doing. So my own bust measurement. So you use your bust measurement, or the person you are making the outfit for, you use their bust measurement. So I'm using my bust measurement divided by 4. And then I'll mark it down. And then I come down here and my waist measurement divided by 4. And then I mark it down. So your waist measurement divided by 4. You mark it down. Now your upper hip measurement divided by 4. You mark it down. So you mark it down. Okay. So now we are going to connect the lines up. You can use a straight ruler or you can use your hip curve ruler. I like using my hip curve ruler. This is the hip curve ruler. I like using it. So you can either use the straight edge of this ruler, or you can use your hip curve ruler, whichever one you like to use, whichever one you want to use, as long as you get the curve correctly. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to connect all the lines together using my hip curve ruler. I hope you can see. And over here, I connect it to this one here. Oops. So I mistakenly draw it out, so I use my eraser. So that's why I say you need an eraser. So your eraser, just put the mark, connect the lines correctly. Hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay guys, so that is my hip, waist and bust measurements connected together. So on this point here, which is the armhole, we are going to be working here now. So remember we came down by 1 inch. Now we need to measure what is left. So now we got 9.5 left. So 9.5 divided into 2. You can use this the same method again, or you can use a calculator to do this. So you just press it hard until it gives you the mark you want. So that is almost like 4.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 4.11, that's what I call it. It's just here, almost 5, but it's not exact 5. So I just mark it down. Okay, so I mark it down there. So from here, we are going to connect this line to this line. Then we can put our sewing allowance. Take your hip curve ruler. You can either, not your hip curve, your curve ruler. You can either use this one or you can use this one. I'm going to be using this one. So you place your ruler properly. Just place it nicely. I hope you can see the way I'm placing it. So you place it nicely. And then you just take your chalk and you draw the line. You just follow the curve of the ruler. Okay, so I hope you guys can see it. That's the curve. So now the next thing is we are going to be adding our seam allowance. I'm going to be adding 2 inches. Before we add our seam allowance, let me just show you the dart. Let me mark the darts down. So the easiest way to get the dart, where the dart should start from, you have to take the measurement, your shoulder to your bust point. So I take my own measurement from shoulder to bust point. You're actually going to start the shoulder measurement from the very top, not at the slanted shoulder, from the very top here.
Sorry.
From the very top here, and then you mark your bust point. So from my bust point, I come down by 1 inch. So I'm just going to draw a straight line. I'm going to use my pen so you can see. So you can see the dart clearly. I just mark this so you can see the dart clearly. So from here, you need to measure the person's bust palm, which is nipple to nipple. So in my own case, I'm going to, it's 9 plus half an inches. So that will be 5. So it's 9 plus 1 inches, half an inches on both sides. So I'm marking 5. So I'm going to mark 5. The length of your dart, I normally use 9 for the length of my dart. Or rather still, you can come up by, from the bottom of the blouse, you can come up by 2 inches or you can come up by 3 inches. But I just like to use 9. 9 work perfectly well for me, so I use 9. So I'm just going to measure 5 across. Okay, so I just take my ruler and draw a straight line. So I'm trying to create the dart. It's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm using the chalk, I'm using the pen rather, so you can see the difference from the pen and the pencil. Okay, so from here, this is the waistline here. I'm just going to draw the waistline across. I'm going to draw a complete straight line across, so it's easy to see. On the waistline here, I'm going to go out by half an inches on the waistline. On the waistline, I'll come out by half an inches, by half an inch on both sides. Half an inch on both sides. Okay, so from the half an inch, you just take your ruler and connect it to this point here, to the point, to the, you know, you're measuring from your very top of your shoulder to your bust point. Then I came down by 1 inch because I don't like my dart to be on top of my bust. So I normally come down by 1 inch. So just connect the line from there, and then you connect the other one from there to the 9, which is the length of the blouse. You do it on both sides. Connect it on both sides. Okay, so hope you guys can see. Let me take this out so you can see. So this is the dart. So what I'll do is, when I want to sew on both sides, I just take the dart and hold it in. Okay, so that's the dart. So now I'm going to be putting my seam allowance. The back dart, I normally like to make my back dart longer, but if you want, you can probably use the same thing. It's just a simple blouse, but I like to make my back dart a bit more longer, so I have a more nice fitting at the back. So I'm going to add 2 inches sewing allowance now. So you just take a measurement tape and add 2 inches sewing allowance. Okay, so you take your ruler and you just connect all the lines together, just like the way we did for the first one, the first line. You just connect everything together. Just connect the lines together. Okay, and then you take your ruler. You know our body is not pointing, so you can take your ruler and then you can just make the curve here smooth. You just make them smoother rather than sharp. You don't want the edge to be sharp. So you just draw a smooth curve. Just like what I'm doing now. I'm using the other ruler as you can see. Okay. Let me just erase this one so you don't get confused. So all I did is I took my ruler and I just used the curved edge to draw a very smooth curve because our body is not pointing. It's got a curve. So I'm just curving it. Okay. So from the very bottom here, because I don't want the blouse to just be straight like that, what I do is I come up by 1.5 inch on the very bottom here. I come up by 1.5 inch, which is here. So from this point here, I connect this line to the very bottom here. I use my hip curve ruler sometimes. Sometimes I just freehand it. So I use my hip curve ruler like this, but sometimes I freehand it. This is just to give you a very nice shape at the bottom of the blouse. This is optional. You don't have to do this. You can come up only by 1 inch if you want. You can come up only by 1/2 inch if you want. So this is just optional. But this is what I do for myself or for a client. Not all clients, some of them. So this is what I do for myself. So this block is for myself. If you are drafting the basic one, you just leave it like that. You don't do this. Okay guys, so I'm going to cut it out. This is all there is to the pattern. So what I'm going to do now, cut it out. Because I've already added 1 inch here already, I don't need to add 1/2 inch here. So when I'm sewing it, I'll just take 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch at the bottom there as well. So I'll cut it out so you can see. I cut the back first. Always cut the back. Oh, for the armhole here, I nearly forgot. For the armhole here, to differentiate the front from the back, at this point here, you come in by 0.7 of an inch. So you come in by 0.7 of an inch, or you can come in by 1/2 inch. Sometimes I use 1/2 inch, sometimes I use 0.7 of an inch. I'm going to use 1/2 inch here. I just come in by 1/2 inch. And then I'll take my ruler again. So this is for the front. This is for the front. Let me connect it to the top here first. Sometimes, as I say, you come in by 0.7, but this is for myself. So I come in 1/2 inch, so I just use the ruler to connect it. Sometimes I just leave it. Sometimes I just leave it like that as well. Sometimes I just leave it. I don't even bother to come in. I just leave it sometimes like that. and it still works perfectly well. I'm just going to erase this one. So when you're drawing a pattern, you might need your eraser. I'm still going to draw the first one. I just want to draw this one in first. Then I'll draw the first one, which is for the back. Okay, so that's it. So draw it neatly. So that's the front one. Now connect the back one properly. The back one was the first one, the one I erased out just a little bit. So I'm just going to connect it back on. So yeah. I'm just drawing the curve properly. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to draw all the curve properly. Okay, so there's the front one here. I put an F there, and this is the back one. I don't know if I draw the B properly, but this is the front one, that's the back one. So what we do first is you cut the back one out first. Just cut the back one out first. So this pattern actually has seam allowance already, so I don't need to add. The only thing I didn't add to this pattern is the zip allowance. The zip allowance is the only thing I didn't add to it. So when you want to sew the back, you need to remember to add the zip allowance to it. Okay, so this is how it should look. This is how it should look, the normal basic one, the back. It should look like this if you are not cutting the bottom like what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to be cutting the bottom just for a nice curve. Okay, so this is how it looks. See how round and nice it looks there? So this is the back one. So now separate it. I can always draw the dart at the back. The dart at the back, as I say, I like my dart at the back to come up. To probably come up by like 2 to 3 inches more. So this is the back. I'm going to, rather, I use this as the front. This is the front. This is the back. So what I can do later, I'll just transfer the dart to the back. Well, much longer than the front one. So now I just cut the neck for the front. Okay guys, so this is the for myself. This is for myself. If I was doing just the normal basic one, I will not cut the neck. As I say, I won't cut it 3.08 inch. I'll cut it, the wideness will be 3 inches. The depth is normal 3 inches. And if you are doing the normal one, if you want to put the darts, you just do it normal. But because it's for me, I like the back dart to be longer. So this is the front one. This is the front one. So now I'm going to cut this off. This is the back here. The only thing, as I say, I didn't do here, I didn't put the zip allowance. I didn't put zip allowance. So remember to put a zip allowance when you are doing yours. Or you can cut it like that and put the zip allowance on the fabric. So I'm just cutting the front armhole. As I say, I don't do this every time and it still works out fine. I don't do the 0.7 inch in. I don't do the half an inch in. It still comes out nice. Sometimes I don't do that and it comes out nice as well, honestly. So guys, so this is the end of the tutorial. As I said, the back is the same thing. I just measure. Okay guys, so this is the end of the tutorial. As I was saying, all you need to do for the back dart, all I do is I measure my shoulder to bust point again, which is 12. I use the pen so you can see, which is 12. And then I come up by 3 inches because I like the back dart to be a bit longer, so it's more fitting. It's really more fitting, to be quite honest. So I come up by 3 inches. So I start the dart from here. And then I measure the 9, but I'm going to add more to it. So I had like another 3 inches to it, as you can see. So 9, 1, 2, 3. So I start, sometimes I add 4 inches to it. Depends on how I want the blouse to fit. So I'm just going to add 3 inches to the bottom as well. So it's 12. So this is the 12 here. Before I draw a straight line, I'll measure the same 5 inch which I used in the front. So I measure the same 5 inch. If you think the dart is too long, just shorten it. You can go up by 1 inch or you can go up by 1.5 or 2 inches. Instead of going down too long using 12, you can use 10. Or you can stick to the 9, whichever. I always just like the dart to be much longer because it really fits really nicely at the back. So I'm just going to draw a straight line to connect the dots. So from there, this is here, this here is the bust point. So this is the waist. You have to measure the waist, the shoulder to the waist, so you know where to start from. Shoulder to the waist is 19. So that's the 19 there. So half an inch in on both sides. Half an inch in on both sides. And you just connect it. To there and to there. And you do the same on the other side. The pen is fading out, which is annoying. Anyway guys, my pen is fading out, but this is how I draw my dart. I was trying to connect it properly. but the pen is dying out on me. So guys, so I just take the dart in. Sometimes I take it in a bit more. Sometimes if I want it really fitting, I'm just telling you this, but in standard, this is it. You don't do anything much, but in mine, I like to sometimes take it in a bit more so the dart is really firm on the top. But anyway guys, this is the way I draw my bodice. So when I want to sew, I just pull it in. Half an inch. Half an inch, and I sew it. So it looks like that in the front. So that's the back. Of course, when you sew it, you have to sew it properly so the dart disappear at both ends, and then it brings in the bodice in. So that's how I take it in. So that's the back, and that's the front. Okay guys, this is the end of the tutorial. I hope this was helpful. This is how I draft my basic block pattern. I hope this was helpful. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. Share it so that others can also learn from it. And subscribe. Just press the notification, the red little written subscribed. Click on it. It's free, and the notification bell is right next to it, so you can get notification when I post videos.